On Saturday, hundreds of thousands of students and teachers and concerned Americans joined the March for Our Lives to demand gun control. It included a huge drive to register voters. And one wonders, should politicians listen up right now?
I think so.
Yeah, I was just hearing some coverage of the marches, and people said, you know, this is so far in advance of elections that this volume will die down. But the change part here, I think, is the voter registration. Because if they can turn all of these voices into votes, people will be forced to politicians will be forced to listen.
It's not just that they will vote; they also have the ability to drive people to the voting polls. They have the ability to get people to get picture IDs to go against all of that. They're kids, they're young people, they've got energy. They can help all of those people who are having trouble getting to vote even if they're too young to vote themselves.
That's true. I mean, I was very impressed by not only the number of people, but the way that it was organized, including the voter registration. I mean, let's think about it. This is Generation Z. It's not necessarily even millennials, Generation Z. And these are the people that are directly affected by these mass shootings and gun violence. I mean, they're the ones that are going through those drills that we never went through in school. They're the ones that are hiding in closets while their kids are their friends are murdered. And I know with my kids, they are now asking, you know, when can I vote? When can I sign up? I know I have driver's ed at this time, and I've never seen anything like that. My generation was, when do I turn 21? Because then I can drink. They're not thinking that, right? They're like, when can I vote?
That's
totally
good.
different.
That's very good.
I was curious all weekend if anyone who didn't already support the cause had their minds changed. Was there any NRA members, pro-gun people who were watching? And I watched because I knew we would talk about it. And there were a lot of comments coming out, specifically from David Hogg, that I don't...
Who's he?
He's one of the big kids, But one thing I will say is that you don't move the narrative when you use language like this. And he said, it just makes me think what sick blankers out there want to continue to sell more guns, murder more children, and honestly just get reelected. What type of blanking person does that? They could have blood from children splattered all over their faces and they don't take action because all they see is dollar signs. There's another kid, Kyle Kashuv, I believe his name is, who is the Second Amendment pro supporter that also was a Parkland student who's been meeting with so many politicians, including Vice President Pence twice, the President of the United States, and congressmen and senators across the country. And I just think, I wish we could have it where the rhetoric isn't that any of us could have blood splattered on our faces and your life perspective wouldn't be changed. And I don't think it's productive. I don't think language like that.
What if he feels that way? I mean, I too was surprised at the language that I heard from politicians, the language that I heard from Rick Santorum, who basically said, you know, things that were inappropriate. Actually, the NRA spokeswoman said, if you're too immature to carry a firearm, you're too immature to make policy about firearms.
Well, here's the thing.
Who is she listening to?
Here's the thing. You know, these kids are not going to take it. They're sick of waiting for the adults to do it. They're letting you know. And whether they're cussing you out, or speaking beautifully, doesn't matter. They're not willing to take this anymore. And the same way that you want us to understand, you want them to understand why you have the right to have your guns. You want them to understand why you feel the way you feel. You can't denigrate the way they feel, because they feel like you've not been responsible out there for them, because they keep getting shot up in school. So there's something there that we all have to sort of take a beat on and hear what they're saying, because they're not kidding. This is not going anywhere.
I think they realize that civilized language, they realize that the civilized language has been on deaf ears.
It's not just about that. He was complaining about the First Amendment rights being infringed upon because there's talk of making kids wear clear backpacks to school. And he said that would be an infringement on privacy. He's complaining about First and Fourth Amendment rights being infringed upon, where it's unfathomable for those of us to have a conversation about our Second Amendment rights being infringed upon. So I just think that there's a lot of rhetoric coming out, and for me, I didn't see a lot of meeting in the middle. I found both sides going to their corners.
Bigger than all of that,
Okay, we'll see. Well, midterms will talk very loudly.
Yes, they will. Hope they're listening. We'll be right back.